So Alberta and Saskatchewan just decided to have a little chat with Ottawa about pipelines through British Columbia. Without inviting British Columbia. You know, the province the pipeline would actually go through. It's like planning a surprise party in someone else's house and getting mad when they're upset you didn't ask permission. Except instead of balloons and cake, we're talking oil tankers and provincial sovereignty. Welcome back to Canadian Insights, where federal-provincial drama gives us more plot twists than a Netflix series nobody asked for. David Eby just dropped the diplomatic equivalent of "excuse me, what?" when he found out Alberta and Saskatchewan have been negotiating pipeline deals with Ottawa behind BC's back. And honestly, can you blame him? Imagine your neighbors discussing whether to build a highway through your living room while you're still inside watching TV. That's essentially what's happening here, except replace your living room with pristine northern coastline and the highway with oil tankers that could turn it into the world's most expensive parking lot for environmental disasters. Now let's talk about Scott Moe's surprise cameo in this political thriller. Saskatchewan's premier casually revealed he's been involved in Alberta's pipeline negotiations, which is wild because last time I checked, Saskatchewan doesn't even touch the Pacific Ocean. That's like someone from Manitoba weighing in on Atlantic salmon policy. Sure, you can have an opinion, but what are you doing here? Moe's involvement confirms this isn't just Alberta trying to get its oil to Tidewater anymore. This is turning into a full prairie province coalition, which sounds way more organized than it probably is. The pipeline in question would cut through northern BC and would require lifting the federal oil tanker ban on BC's north coast. You know, that ban that exists because people generally agree that mixing oil tankers with one of the most ecologically sensitive coastlines in North America is about as smart as using a flamethrower to light birthday candles. The ban has support from BC's NDP government, Indigenous groups, and pretty much anyone who thinks maybe we shouldn't risk catastrophic oil spills in pristine waters, is a reasonable position to hold. But here's where Eby's comparison gets really spicy. He likened Alberta and Saskatchewan premiers to unprepared tourists wandering into BC's wilderness who are eventually going to need rescuing. And honestly? Chef's kiss. That's the kind of shade that requires SPF 100. He's basically saying Danielle Smith and Scott Moe are bumbling around BC's political landscape like they forgot to bring a map, water, and common sense. I worry about the cost and the damage they're going to cause along the way, Eby said, which is politician speak for, these people are about to step on every political landmine in the province and I'm going to have to clean it up. The real kicker is that Eby learned about these negotiations through media reports. Not a phone call. Not an email. Not even a passive-aggressive text message. The media. That's like finding out your roommate is moving out because you saw the U-Haul truck outside. The complete lack of communication here isn't just rude, it's strategically baffling. If you want to build infrastructure through someone's province, maybe loop them in before the newspapers do? Now let's talk about what's actually at stake here, because it's not just hurt feelings and provincial pride. BC has been working on multi-billion-dollar LNG projects with broad support from First Nations communities. These are massive economic development deals that required years of negotiation, relationship building, and genuine consultation. Eby's warning that Alberta and Saskatchewan's pipeline shenanigans could torpedo all of that. Because here's the thing about Indigenous support. It's earned through respect, consultation, and actually listening. You can't just bulldoze through with secret pipeline talks and expect communities to keep trusting you on other projects. First Nations leaders are already raising concerns that Alberta's pipeline pursuit could erode Indigenous support for infrastructure projects across the board. And can you blame them? If governments are willing to have backroom deals about one pipeline, what's stopping them from doing it again? Trust is like a really expensive vase. Takes forever to acquire, breaks instantly, and good luck gluing it back together. The irony here is absolutely delicious. Danielle Smith has spent considerable energy blaming the previous Liberal government for strangling Alberta's oil and gas sector with environmental policies. Fair enough, that's been her whole brand. But now Prime Minister Mark Carney, who campaigned on continuing Canada's environmental goals while boosting resource production, is suddenly Alberta's new best friend. It's like watching someone complain about their ex for years and then immediately start dating someone who looks suspiciously similar. The awkwardness is palpable. Carney's trying to thread an impossible needle here, keep Canada's climate commitments while ramping up fossil fuel exports to reduce economic dependence on the United States. It's an ambitious play that requires keeping Alberta happy, BC happy, Indigenous communities happy, environmental groups happy, and international trading partners happy. So basically he's trying to juggle chainsaws while riding a unicycle. On fire. Good luck with that. What makes this whole situation even messier is the timing. We're in an era where Indigenous consultation isn't just nice to have, it's legally required. The oil tanker ban wasn't some random liberal virtue signal, it was supported by coastal First Nations who have legitimate concerns about their traditional territories. Lifting that ban without proper consultation isn't just politically stupid, it's potentially illegal. And that's before we even get into the environmental review process, which for a project like this would make war and peace look like a light red. The real question is what happens next. Does Ottawa actually move forward with these talks without BC at the table? Does Eby dig in and make this the political battle of the decade? Do First Nations communities lawyer up and prepare for the court fights of the century? Honestly, all of the above seems likely. Canadian pipeline politics have never been simple, and throwing provincial egos and secret negotiations into the mix isn't going to make things easier. So there you have it. Alberta and Saskatchewan are apparently planning pipeline routes through BC like they're organizing a surprise party, except the surprise is we didn't think we needed to ask you. David Eby is less than thrilled, Indigenous communities are concerned, and the whole thing is shaping up to be another episode in Canada's never-ending pipeline drama series. Will common sense prevail? Will someone pick up a phone and actually communicate? Will Scott Moe explain what Saskatchewan's doing in ocean-based pipeline negotiations? Subscribe to Canadian Insights because we'll be covering every twist, turn, and passive-aggressive press conference as this unfolds. And hey, drop a comment below with your predictions on how this all goes down. My money's on at least 3 more premiers getting involved before someone realizes nobody actually invited them. Catch you in the next one.